Welcome to the Block Party. My name is Seth Kushner, and today I'm joined by one of the three guys who I have a jersey of. You can see it in the background if you're watching this. Bugsy Malone, welcome to the Block Party, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. About time I got on here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. Really, we tried to get you on last year, and then I guess you ghosted Breezeman at the end of the season or something like that. So
No. Breezer, we're talking, and then Tampa's about to win the cup, and then obviously I think you guys had bigger fish to fry.
Maybe he canceled you because I had the general manager on, so maybe he thought that might be a bigger interview. So I'm glad we could save it to right now. Bugsy, I'm happy to have you on. I want to know, first of all, why aren't you and Teddy Purcell doing a podcast? You guys are so great together. You tear the show up every time you're on Spittin' Chicklets. How come you and Teddy aren't doing something creative together?
We talked about it, but yeah, I mean, who knows if we're still bored in a few years. Maybe we'll do it, something fun to do. Yeah, he's obviously a great guy, great friend. And especially with all the podcasts going, it's pretty fun and entertaining to see all these kind of more behind the stories and the real characters of all the people in interviews. So it's definitely a new thing that's taken off everywhere. So maybe one day.
Now, have you always had this room behind you with all those framed jerseys, or did you get that set up once you started doing a bunch of Zoom interviews and calls?
They just set up in my basement. I can angle it to get the jerseys in there. But even my house in Tampa, I had a few of the jerseys up just to decorate a little bit, obviously.
What do you have?
I want to know where I played.
What jerseys do you have?
I got
besides yourself?
Gretzky and Lemieux back there, and then I have my jersey above my dad's Penguin jersey, and then in the little corner up there. It's probably one of the coolest awards that I've won in Pittsburgh. I won the Players Player Award. So there's a picture of the year I won it, and then the year my dad won it when he played for the Penguins. So that was a pretty cool moment for me to be able to do that there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's awesome. You got a heck of a room. We got to get that picture angled over there and kick that USA jersey out of the frame or something like that.
Yeah, that's the best one, the USA one. Who would ever have thought? But yeah, that's another that's a dream come true that wasn't even on the list or in the radar when all that happened. So that was obviously just an unbelievable experience, and I was lucky to be part of that team.
Ryan, you know that you were a big time stud when you were in town with the Lightning. And I used to see you all over town. And I had Teddy on the podcast last year, and I talked to him about this. I'll give him the exact story. I'm giving you the exact stories I gave him. I saw you guys out twice. One of them was at our concert. It was the next big thing. We gave you backstage passes, and we got a call when Bush was about to go on stage, and they said, hey, someone needs to come get their hockey friends because they're sitting in these Bud Light winter seats or something like that. Like we had some people call in, they win the seats, and I guess you and Teddy were occupying those right there on stage. So we had to come get you guys out of there, which was totally fine, by the way. Do you remember that?
I think we were looking for our seats. So we thought those were our seats. So, worst case scenario, we got them warmed up for the next customer coming in. But yeah, obviously we wanted a good seat to hear Bush perform, that's for sure.
And then I saw you guys, then this was probably one of the best shows I've ever been to. I saw you at a private Kid Rock concert in Cleveland or in Clearwater. And when I looked over, I saw you, Teddy, maybe a couple of other teammates. Hulk Hogan was behind you. There was maybe a couple hundred people. It was an absolutely phenomenal show. And then Teddy told me that you guys rock started up that night and got a limo and everything.
Yeah, it was yes, we did. Kid Rock is one of my favorite bands. I've listened to him for a while. So I forget the charity that hosts those private events, but I ended up becoming like a member, and they always had some cool one-on-one concerts like that. So it was at the end of the season. Yeah, I told Teddy, I'm like, hey, we're getting a limo tonight to take us to Clearwater and, be responsible, yada, yada. So, yeah, we ended up getting a limo out there, having a great time, getting to meet the band a little bit, having a few pops, and, got home safe.
Did you meet Hulk?
Was Hulk? Like you said, it was one of the best concerts with just a few hundred people, and he just ripped it up. I just loved it.
Had you seen him before?
No, that was the first time I seen him live. So actually, that's a lie. I saw him way back when they played with Metallica here in Minnesota when I was in college, but that was probably a decade before that one.
Do you ever look around? Because I know like Hulk Hogan was probably literally right behind you with his daughter. And I looked around and I go, Kid Rock's one of my favorite to see live. I go, Kid Rock's here. Bugsy's here. Hulk Hogan's here. This is something I'm going to remember forever. I just want to make sure, is it something you're going to remember forever also?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember Hulk. I remember his, I forget his buddy that he always ran around with. We got to meet them and his daughter. Yeah, and I think everyone was we were trying to crush some beers and have a good time. So it was like I said, it was just a great night altogether.
Was Teddy your go-to guy back in the day when you would have tickets to a sweet concert and you're like, hey, you want to go with me? Was he always down?
Yeah, I mean, we asked a lot of the guys. I mean, Stammer, we had great team, a group of guys there. So yeah, whoever was really available, we tried to get together. But yeah, me and Teddy definitely been on to a few concerts together for sure.
Back in 2008, when you decided to sign with the Lightning, what was it that made you want to come to Tampa Bay, other than they probably offered you a sweet deal?
Well, I think looking at it, I actually wanted to stay in the Eastern Conference. Coming from Pittsburgh, we just did a cup run. I remember my body just like it felt like miserable after the playoffs. The body hurt. And Pittsburgh looked like it was gonna, sign Hossa, and they had other, bigger fish to kind of to look after. And for myself playing the wing, I looked at Vinny down the middle, or you had Stamkos coming in. So I figured hopefully I'd jump on one of those guys' sides and have a decent time. So those guys might be playing with, and you had Marty St. Another smart player. I think this right off the hop, you had a chance to win, and that was the mindset, coming here in 2008.
Did you and Barry Melrose get along for the 16 games that he was here for?
I think so. I mean, he's a character. He's that old school mentality. He just loved, the physical, throw the weight around, fists in their face hockey. And I just remember playing, I think, exhibition game with Evgeny Artutin. I don't remember that guy.
Oh yeah, Artutin.
Just an animal. Like, he would hurt people, just clean hockey checks, like breaking their collarbones. Just an animal. It was like me, him, and Stammer, and he just wanted us to dump the puck in, and me and Artie would just run around and pretty much just make room for Stammer if he wanted to skate down the ice by himself to go down and snipe one. I mean, he just, it wasn't too technical with the way the systems and all that stuff is now, but yeah, it was a good time. I think he enjoyed us. But same thing in training camp then was like, hey, he wanted to see fights. He wanted to usually coaches say, hey, save the fights for the preseason games so you can punch someone else in the face besides your own teammates. But there's a few fights that year in camp. Like, he loved the competition, that old school mentality. But
were you into that? Were you into fighting in training camp?
Not ideally, like you say, I understand, like you don't want to hurt. I mean, but guys are fighting for spots. So I understand, especially back in the day, you had those heavyweights that would come in, have to prove that they're still the heavyweights, and that I can't imagine, being one of those guys. Andre Waugh is a good example, night in, night to do his job to protect his teammates. So I mean, that's one of the toughest jobs in the world. So yeah, I think Barry enjoyed it. I think most guys would say not to fight your teammates in practice unless it's called for, unless there's some dirty going on. But yeah, I think you want to save that for the preseason games.
Now, you were a veteran at the time, around other veterans, and I've talked to Vinny and Marty about this. And did you go, man, this is weird? Was it surprising when he only lasted so many games? I mean, because when people look back on it now, they look at it as kind of like a weird time with the Lightning. Did you sense that at all, being in the league for as long as you were at the time?
It was weird. It was just kind of, usually you don't see the order go from, I think, general managers like not even there yet, and then you already have a head coach. So it's kind of, usually I think the general manager wants to be on the same page as the head coach, so maybe they usually go the other way around on that. So maybe that's where the differences came in off the hat. Obviously Barry was hired right away. And then the GM came in, and maybe they're on different pages, but yeah.
Bugsy, tell me your biggest on ice memory with the Lightning. I want to hear your biggest off ice memory, since your off ice memory to me are seeing you at a Bush concert and Kid Rock concert, and then your biggest on ice memory with the Lightning, whichever pops in your head first.
There's I think Stammer scoring 60 goals was really cool to be part of that. There's so many on ice, I think, memories. Just even Game 7 losing to Boston by 1-0, and then having no penalties in the whole game. That was the first game I ever played in. There was no penalties. Looking back at man, there's just so many moments that were great. I remember one goal I scored flipping over the D's head, and I skated around him, like just ballooned it over his head, and then I ended up using my quick feet and speed to get around him and score. And that was actually the night after, I think, the Kid Rock concert.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It had a little extra carbs in the legs to get me going, I think. But yeah, that was funny. I think it was actually the night after the Kid Rock concert. Wow. And then off the ice, in Florida, it's crazy, because coming from Pittsburgh originally, when you first move there, you're like, okay, I'll unpack when you're on a rainy day. Because in Pittsburgh, like when it's sunny out, you just go outside, because there's only a handful of days a month. And then you're looking at your closet when you're in Tampa, like a month later, like, man, maybe I should unpack some of these. I just remember the weather, the community, how it's like a great downtown, but doesn't feel like a big city where there's tons of crazy traffic and all the madness goes with that. But I mean, off the ice, just hanging with the guys, being able to actually go to like a beach on your day off, and get away from the rink on your days off, compared to those times in Pittsburgh. Same things when you had days off. Usually guys just brought their kids to the rink because there's not much else you can do on those days off. So in Florida is like, yeah, we're not at the rink. We're getting away from the game and enjoying it, which is actually, I think, if you do it responsibly, is a great recharge for your body. And it's hockey paradise down there, especially you got the championship team now, and life can't get much better than that.
Would you do a lot of pranks when you were playing? I know I listened to the story on Chicklets when you seemed to trick Stammer and Teddy into buying $25,000 watches at International Plaza. I mean, anything that elaborate when you were playing, or is that the biggest heist you ever pulled off?
That wasn't really a prank. That was them getting their first NHL watch. I think Stammer, I remember Stammer, I mean, poor kid's 18. I remember even just taking him to Jackson's after practice. Like, he hasn't had sushi, or you take him out, they haven't had red wine yet. I mean, because they're 18, they don't, it's crazy to think how young he was and being able to play in the NHL. There's just there's few kids that can be able to do that. So, I just think, I forgot your question.
I forgot it too. Did you feel like when Stammer came in, did you feel like it was up to you to kind of take him under your wing? Did you feel like you want to do that as a veteran? Or did you go, hey, this kid, the sky's the limit, I just want to make sure he stays on the right track? Because he's a good kid.
Oh, he's a great kid. Yeah. I mean, I just, I just kind of did what all the older guys kind of did to me. They just kind of let you be yourself, but, let you know to continue to believe in yourself. And I think with the NHL, you get there, and if you don't have the same success right away, right, there's so much pressure on them to perform. Seeing Stamkos and all this stuff, and then it was kind of the way they handle things could have been a little different. Because I remember them scratching him games to like work out and stuff,
that was Barry.
He was explosive kid, or yeah. So I mean, he was an explosive kid already. So I think they want to just make sure they're trying to do the best they can for him. But it's every year. My dad always told me, you might be a goal scorer one year. It seems like every year for Stammer. And then some years you might be a checker if you have injuries and nagging things going on. It's the way it's a roller coaster. So you always just want to keep your head up and continue to believe in yourself. And hopefully, things work out in the end.
Now, being here since Stammer came in, you talked about seeing the Stamkos billboards, knowing how much pressure was on him. When you saw him score that goal last year in the Stanley Cup final, what did that mean to you?
Oh, it's just I mean goosebumps now. I mean, you're just so happy for him. And Hetty, obviously, guys that both came in when they were young there that have put in their time. Um, and in the community, I think they deserve it. And Mr. Vinnick, I mean, wow, what a tremendous job he has done since he came on board with the community, establishing um, where how important the fans are and to make you really feel like the team needs you, which they do. But he's done a great job of incorporating that into the rink and into the community. And then to see Stammer get that goal and the create like one shit, like it was just crazy because you're like, oh, is he that hurt? Man, you're like, man, he obviously is hurt if he can't even push off to skate. But to have him get out there and rip down the ring and snipe at top corner, I think everyone was super proud and happy for him because he's had some crazy serious injuries, and I think people don't understand how hard you have to work to get back to the level you're at and then some, and to continue to play at that level and score goals. And it just says a lot about his character and what type of person he is. So it's great to see him get the job done and get to lift the cup. Was awesome.
I can tell you love talking about your teammates. So I want to know, what was it like? How special was it to go with Marty when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, that was man, it's crazy. I mean,
did you know he was
I
a Hall
use
of
Marty
Famer?
as an example, even to my boys. They talk about just dreams and what they want. And my oldest boy plays hockey. He's on the smaller side, and parents, especially in Minnesota, get a little crazy about, hey, they need to play on like the AA team, or they got to play on this team and play on that team, and it's anyone that has played in the NHL, I think, can say it doesn't matter what team you're on, especially when you're a young kid, because eventually the cream always gets to the top. And it doesn't matter if he's drafted or even not drafted. I'm like, I have friends in the Hall of Fame that weren't even drafted. I mean, that's crazy to think about, but his determination, his mind for the game, I learned so much. Just the way he thinks. I'm going to dump the puck in the left corner. The D's got a left-handed shot. He's probably going to rim it. So Bugsy, I want you to force him like on his backhand, so I know where to be. Like, he's thinking those little details. Because when it, in the game, especially at the highest level, it comes down just to the little things and those good habits. So to be a part of Marty getting inducted to the Hall of Fame there was it was a surreal moment. And then just being in the Hall of Fame and just seeing all the pictures of everybody, it was just, yeah, man, it's incredible. It's awesome.
When you were playing with him, did you know he was a Hall of Famer right away?
No, I guess, because you don't know. I mean, I don't really pay attention to who votes for what or how many career points he's ever had or anything. Right. But you just know him. I just remember him and Vinny on the ice. They just knew where each other were all the time. Even when I first got there playing pickup hockey, they're throwing cross-rink sauces off the boards. They're like just flying, buzzing around, and it's like, holy gee, it was really impressive to see those two work together and how to spread the ice and just all these little things that I was lucky to be a part of and learn so much from those guys.
Now, talk about a guy that I never saw around town, Marty. Would he ever go out with you guys, or was he always, going for an extra skate or watching film after the games?
Yeah, I mean, he had his family there. He lived out of town just a little bit, but yeah, he would come out with the boys for a beer or two. But yeah, usually when we're in town, he's a solid family man, so he was putting in time with his kids at his place there. But Marty, we always had great card games on the plane with him and Vinny, and it was just a great group of guys to be part of. So I had a crazy card story.
Let's hear it. Yeah, don't hold back. Let's go.
Okay, we got so we're playing cards. I forget the name of this card game, but the pot can like double up, triple up really fast. Like Marty, I think, invented this game so he could win or something. But it was Marty, Teddy, and I think Stammer, and the pot like quadrupled. It almost hit. I think it hit close to 30 grand. I ended up losing 30 G's to Teddy, And I'm like, shit, and Teddy like ends up, he's like, blue light me. I'm like, Teddy, here's what I'll do. I'm going to get a tattoo of your face on my ass, holding like a deck of cards out, like the deck of cards, whatever cards he had that he won with, saying yes, bye. Cause the newfies always end their sentences with bye. So I was going to have yes, bye tattooed on my ass. I go, for life. You can take one picture and put it on social media, but then we're calling it even,
Wow.
And he said, no. So he blue lighted me. He dropped the price a good chunk. So I ended up, I think, buying his girlfriend at the time like a new car or some
Oh my
Mazda
God.
or something. But it was I had the opportunity to have his face tattooed on my ass, and he said no.
Would you have gone
I
through
thought,
that?
I think I would have. It'd have been on my ass. It would be a funny story, and I would have saved a pretty penny. But I thought it'd have been nuts. But I was more stunned that he said no, I think, than anything, because that would be funny to see in a few years for sure.
He probably made the right move, though, right, Bugsy?
I guess so.
Unfortunate for you, but I think probably he made the right call getting that car, whatever that he was able to get out of you. How was Big Cat Rescue when you were in town? I know you said you went there with the kids to feed the big cats and all that. You see anything weird there? Everything was on the up and up.
Oh yeah, well, you definitely feel bad. I mean, the kids want to go see it. We end up same thing. They get you at the end. You can like donate for one of the cats, and you get a stuffed animal or whatever. But yeah, it's crazy to see all that come out on Netflix, and yeah, who knows what really happened down there? It's
Yeah.
those are tigers. I'm not. I don't know what else we can say about that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We've probably said too much. Bugsy, what was I know because everything's been weird for the pandemic. Because you seem like a guy you got to get out and about with the people, have some fun. What's the last concert that you went to? Do you even remember?
I think out at Red Rocks. My brother lives out in Denver there. So
great venue.
Geez, who was it? Yeah. 311. Geez, 311 maybe.
Okay. That makes sense. So
Yeah.
Is that the first show you've seen at Red Rocks, or have you been there a couple times?
I've been there another time as well. They had like some type of spring concert my brother took us to. So yeah, it's a nice venue. Bring your walking shoes.
That's the greatest venue I've ever been to. Is there something better where you've seen a concert?
No, I mean the concert, I think any concert, just like everyone's like, where's the best golf course you played? I'm like, well, it depends who you're golfing with, it depends. I think it really matters. It's you got your friends and family around, and we always said you can always make your own fun. So I think it's just being around with the right people, and you can have a good time.
Bugsy, which of your old teammates right now do you follow? How much hockey are you watching? How many guys are you paying attention to?
I'm actually not that good of following. I'm obviously try to follow Smitty, and obviously the Lightning here with Hetty and Stammer. But it's weird because I actually deleted my Twitter and Instagram stuff on my phone. So I just go on like local websites to kind of get the news, just because I was getting, I have twins at home. I got, 4 kids now total. So wow. I mean, life's pretty busy. So, I think just, I try to follow the guys, check in, every little bit to see how they're doing, try to give them a phone call, but mostly just trying to survive the 4 kids at home and try to get some rest.
Oh, man. Were you spending too much time on Twitter and Instagram? Is that why you got rid of it, or you just didn't want the temptation of having it distract you from the family?
Yeah, it was just, I wasn't on it really too often, but sometimes, you start scrolling on Instagram or whatever, and next, you're sitting there 30 minutes, an hour. Then I look at my screen time, like, oh, you've been on your phone for 3 hours. I'm like, I didn't do anything. Right? I was just like, I can be a little more productive with my time in retirement than just scrolling on Instagram. So, I understand, if I was using it for, business or for something, but now my wife's got Instagram with my friends on, so she always can just let me know what's going on through that.
Good.
So
that's the way to go. Now you
and
said
just
that your
try to
kids,
keep it simple.
you said your kids play hockey now. What's it like to watch them play? What kind of hockey parent are you? Are you insane? Are you yelling at the coach? Are you fighting the referees after? Are you calm?
I have to admit, last year I was like co-head coach. I said I would co-head coach. I just wasn't dealing with the parents. That was my part of the bargain. I'm like, I'll set up practices and help that way. But like your communication with the 100% parents, I have nothing to do with that. And it's just intense. Like it was like he was on a B2 team in our association. There's 13 teams at his Pee Wee level. Just as one association here in Minnesota, there's 13 teams. So, and we're on the B2 team, and it just got too it's just crazy. They're talking about all these stats and all this stuff, and not like, first of all, these kids haven't even been hit yet because they can't even hit till the following year. And it's just about instilling that passion and love for the game. Like you can't say you're going to make it to the NHL if you shoot 100 pucks a day. There's no secret that way. It's the kid goes and shoots puck because he loves it, and he's down there because he wants to be down there for however long. So I think the biggest thing for me was just stepping back. This past year, I stepped back and didn't coach at all and just dropped him off at the rink. My son wasn't too happy about it, but he got to deal with the other coaches, and my son's a pretty smart hockey player, so it's pretty funny to hear him come back. He's like, "Oh, Dad, we have 2 left-handed D and 2 right-handed D. He's got me playing defense. I'm playing on the right side. I should be on the left side, so I can pick up the puck easier off the wall." I'm like, "Hey, do you know what? You're probably right, but your coach is going to tell you what you want. So if you want to, he wanted to move up the forward. So he's like, I think I'm just going to let this guy skate around me and then get scored on. Then he'll move me up the forward." I'm like, no. You need to just go talk to your coach. Yeah, I'm like, you can't sell out the team. I'm like, you're selling out the team. You can't do that. So he ended up talking to his coach. At least, I'm not going to be the parent that's like calling hey, put my kid at forward. I'm like, you don't know what the coach is thinking. I'm like, you just have to do what the coach says. That's why they're the coach and you're the player. It doesn't matter even if, but at least he went and talked to the coach, ended up getting moved to forward and enjoyed it. So I think he learned some good lessons that way.
But Bugsy, it was bothering you, right? Like hearing parents and coaches with the way they were talking. Did you feel like going, hey, listen, I was in the NHL. Like I know maybe what it takes and you got to lay off these kids? Or is that why you said I have to remove myself because you didn't want to go, hey, I've been there. I know what it takes.
Well, at the beginning of the year, I kind of told him just a little background, even just with my dad had played, and he developed like players 20 years in Pittsburgh. He's drafted, Yager all the way up to Crosby and Flirt. Like he drafted all those guys. And then I kind of just mentioned myself, even my family, my cousin has played in the NHL. My other cousin's supposed to get drafted this year in the first or second round. This Cole Huckins.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's in the Quebec League. He's my cousin. Yeah. So we kind of said that. And then what actually really ticked me off was there's this family moved here from Chicago. So the coach sends an email out in the morning. Hey, there's this guy. They evaluate him at like a B2 level. Hey, can we add him to our team? And I just like, oh, great. It'd be great to welcome this family community. We can actually use, 5 defensemen instead. We just have 4 kids back there, on the big ice. So it's like 5 would be actually better. Yada, yada, yada. I don't check my email to the next day. And the other assistant coaches hop on there and it was like back and forth. Who evaluated them? Can we get video on them? We're peaking for our tournament. We're peaking for the tournament. I don't know. He might mess up our chemistry. And I'm like, woosah. So I give it 24 hours. And then I write an email to the coach. I'm like, this is embarrassing. I'm like, this is making my stomach hurt for 24 hours. I'm like, it makes my legit stomach hurt. This is not what hockey's about. Like, we're a B2. We're not a AAA hockey team traveling around. Like, I could understand maybe it was a little more serious, but we're an in-house B2 team. And we're not just going to ask this kid just to practice with us. Like, we either have him on the team or we don't. So they ended up, we didn't take him on our team. And then I was like, I don't know if I should go to the, president of the thing and just say, hey, this isn't cool. Right. And the guy was like, he wrote in the email saying, actually, the other B2 team had the same concern. So we'll put him on the third B2 team. I'm like, like it didn't even read it. So I didn't say anything. This is the first time I'm really talking about it to, I mean,
Hey,
you guys
let it out.
don't even
Let it out. Let it
but
out.
I mean,
No.
it was just like, it was like eye opening. Like, what? This poor 11-year-old kid is now not going to play on a hockey team, or he's got to put on this team because we thought we were like too good for him. I'm like, shame on us. Like it was embarrassing to be part of that. So
And this
that's
is
why this year I stepped out and actually started fire school. I joined the fire department here in September. So just finished up my fireman 1 and 2 classes, and I got an EMR class starting here this week for about a month, and I should be all set with a new fireman gig.
that's
So
awesome, man.
I'd rather run into
Congrats.
burning buildings than coach kids right now.
You know what? You're crazy enough to do it. That's really, really cool. That's great to hear, Bugsy. So, and I just want everybody to know you're
Thanks.
talking about the youth hockey. This is not in Canada. This is in America. Where this is in Minnesota,
Yeah,
right?
this is Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota, you saw, I mean, they had 4 teams in the, national in the Final Four. So it is like a mini Canada. I understand that, but it's still about it's the passion and love for the game. The other 99.9% of kids that aren't going to even, make the high school team. Like there's so many values in hockey. You can learn to be part of a team and feel good about yourself. And, it's just about falling in love with the game. It's not about anything else right now. It's just about, they have to love the game, because little Johnny isn't going to go into the corner with a 6'5" guy with mommy holding his hand. He's going to have to go in there on his own and want to go get the puck because he loves it, not because Johnny's dad's telling him to go get it. Like,
Hey,
so,
and that's where the fifth demon would really help out. That's where the fifth demon would really help out if we weren't peaking so early,
Oh, it was crazy to hear, it was just like who cares who, like he's fine. Like,
I know.
It was just too bad. So, I mean, I think that's how it is everywhere, unfortunately, so, but hopefully there's enough retired guys now and coaching and helping out that there's lots of good spots out there too.
Bugsy, listen, man, I really appreciate that you taking the time today. I'm so glad that you let me in and telling everybody that you're going to be a firefighter soon. Thank you for peeling back the curtain on everything that's going in with youth hockey in Minnesota. And thanks for telling stories about back in the day, man. It was awesome to have you, and I'm glad to get to catch up.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, and maybe we'll be in Tampa soon.
Awesome, man. See you, Bugsy. See you at a Bush concert on
All right,
stage.
man, thanks.